Hello, welcome to Against Gravity, the podcast that speaks to legacy builders, game changers, and problem solvers. I'm the host, Henry Debin. Now, our podcast, as you know, is brought to you by Pisha, the new narrative for Afrocentric content. In our Pisha, we launched the Afro-Femme collection, a free collection of photos amplifying the diversity, resilience, and beauty of Black women. Check it out at pishastock.com and use some of these images for your storytelling and marketing to change the narrative positively. Today on Against Gravity, we are talking changing the narrative of the African prince with one woman who is the best person to talk to. Her name is Joy Ezeka. Joy Ezeka is the founder of Zuri and Imani, a textile and surface design studio in South Africa, renowned for its original and exclusive pattern for prints, designs, and colors. The design studio's portfolio includes, a collection of ladies' coats, complemented by a range of fashion accessories, including scarves, canvas sneakers, leather bags, as well as textiles and surface design, which is its core product. Thank you so much for joining us here on Against Gravity, Joy.
Thank you too for having me.
Oh, how is the weather in South Africa today?
Today, looking out of the window, it's hot. The sun is shining, but winter is creeping in little by little. Yeah. So, and the night it gets cold sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine. Interesting. Thank you so much for telling your story. You are Nigerian and you live in South Africa. Why did you move from Nigeria to South Africa?
The intention was not to live here when I first came. It was in 2009. I came to school, and after some years, let's just say Cape Town stole my heart. So I'm here almost 12 years now.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I'm waiting for a city to steal my heart too, so I can.
Well, for now, it's Cape Town. I don't know which city is going to be in some years to come.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. And I was checking out your Twitter and I love your handle, the Design Bender. It sounds like the Air Bender, the film, Design Bender. Why the name? And tell us a bit more about yourself as well.
You got it right. I coined it from after watching, I was inspired by the movie The Airbender, and it was just, the way he could take air and bend it and use it to his will, and then the water bender, the fire bender, I think there was even a stone bender, so I thought, how I wish I can take design whatever way and then just bend it and create something, as easily as they did it. All they did was do their hands like that and boom, it was something. So that's where I got the inspiration from. Okay, about myself, I'm Joy, yeah. And how old am I now? I think I'm going to be 42 in next month. Wow, I'm getting old. Yes, I'm going to be 42 next month. What else do you want to know about me? I don't know. Okay, well, I was born in France, grown up. My mom lived there, and my dad used to visit her. That's how come I came along. And then I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria for 14 years, and then my parents moved to Lagos, and I was there till I came here in 2009, and I studied art and majored in sculpture, but I never practiced because I got pregnant at a young age when I graduated school, so I had to quickly jump in and get a job. So I worked as an exhibition curator for a couple of years. I used to buy art, organize exhibitions, hang ad, document art. Yeah, so that's what I did. Then 2008, the business crashed during the US market thing when the dollar went like boom. And at that time, I was organizing an exhibition for a Ghanaian artist, actually, and it was all in dollars. So that I started organizing at the beginning of August of January 2008, and I think dollar was 40 something naira to $1, and then by the time of the exhibition, it was 500 naira to $1, and then that crashed. So I started thinking, what can I do so that when something happens like that again, it won't affect me. So I thought I would venture into interior design. People are always building houses. So that's how I came to Cape Town. I didn't know anyone here. It was the first school to respond to my email because I sent to different countries was in Cape Town. I just packed my things and I came here. But then I made a mistake. I didn't know interior decoration and interior design are different. And so when I came, it was interior decoration. It was a 3 month course. And then in the school, I saw, works of the students, like architecture. They built things 3D. And I was like, can I do that? And they're like, yeah, you can do it. And I said, okay. And then I enrolled in the full 3 year program. And then I learned how to do all that. Um, yeah, and then I did interior decoration for a couple of years. I worked as a junior interior designer. Oh, I dropped out. Let's just put that out there. I dropped out in the 3rd year. But then I went ahead to work as a junior interior designer. Thank you to YouTube. I learned how to use all the softwares and I learned on the job. And then it was 2014. I realized I didn't want to keep staring at a blank screen all the time. AutoCAD. It was just the same process, no matter the type of the house you're designing. It was still the same process, and it wasn't exciting. And then I stopped, and well, then I did into social media management for a while. Blog writing. I learned how to use WordPress. And then 2016 December, I found surface and textile design. So I think that's the brief of my life. Oh, I have a kid. He's going to be 18 this year and he's going to college. So I'm a proud mama.
Wow, beautiful. You've done so well for yourself on that front. The courage to leave your country and go to a place where you know no one and still be able to build such a beautiful brand like Zuri and Imani takes a lot. And I'm really proud of that. I read that you are a self-taught designer who turns pain into arts. Tell us a bit more about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to try and shorten it. When I said I discovered surface design in December 2016, I never for once thought I was going to know how to do this. I wanted to start a fashion line in 2015, and I went to Lagos, Balogun Market, and I bought a lot of Ankara, what we know as African prints. And I bought quite a lot, and I came back to Cape Town. But then I didn't buy like one design, I didn't buy like several. So I started researching on how I can buy, but one thing also when I found that I kept stumbling on other Instagram accounts, fashion designers in the diaspora in different countries. The same fabrics I had bought, they were using it, the same color, the same design. And I knew that as a new business, it was going to be tough to break in. Like nothing was going to make me stand out. At that time, I was reading a book, Blue Ocean Strategy, How to Create an Uncontested Market Space for Yourself, and also Good to Great. And I was like, there's no way I was going to go from good to great if if I use the same fabrics other people are using. And so, but also during when I was researching where to get these fabrics, I stumbled on somebody's Instagram account. She was the textile designer for Vlisco. She put that on her Instagram. Let me tell you, or you see these things and you don't really like think, oh, who designs them or where does this come from. I actually thought it was machines that did this designs, like, oh, they just put some code in, and I never just like thought about it. So to see that somebody actually sat down and drew this prints, that we're wearing. And I think she was in Brazil or Holland, but they were not. So I started finding other designers that designed for Blue School. None of them were African. But it didn't. That didn't click at first because I approached a Canadian textile designer to design prints for me. Because then I was like, oh, why don't I design my own prints that I can use instead of using. So there's nothing like changing the narrative of the African print. There was nothing like creating my own African print. I just wanted something different. And the Canadian textile designer gave me a quote, and I couldn't afford it. So I was like, okay, I'll get back to you. And then I just let that go. So throughout 2016, I really didn't do anything. Then December 2016, now we're going to talk about taking the pain and turning it into art. I lived in an abusive environment when I was married, and very abusive, mentally, physically, emotional, verbal. And it was after one of those episodes of physical and mental, and that day I went into my room. I was tired already. I stopped crying, I stopped screaming, I stopped doing any of those. So anytime it happens, I go into my room. I had a small office space, and I'll just sit down and put the earphones in my ear and then play loud music. Now Photoshop was open that day, and I sat in front of my chair and I just started playing with Photoshop. I didn't know how to use Photoshop. I was still trying to figure out how to use it to create posts for social media. Clients I was marrying, those simple posters you create and post on Facebook and Instagram. I was trying to learn how to use Photoshop because I used to use Word or something to create those things. But I wanted to use Photoshop. And then I was scribbling. I was like, oh my God, that looks like a pattern. And that was it. I remember the date because one of the folder of the first design has that date, December 16th, 2016. And that day I went on Google and then I went on YouTube and I googled something like how to use Photoshop to create textile designs, and then videos came up, and I uploaded. I took a picture of one of my scribbles in my journal, put it on, and then that's what I used to practice. 3 days, no sleep. I was like that. I sat down in the same chair like that. The only thing I think I probably just go and make coffee or something to munch, and then I'll come back. And that was how I figured out how to use Photoshop, and I created my first design. It called YouTube. U-turn. That was the name of the design. And that's how we started. That's how I took paint and I turned it into art. So it became like my Photoshop in creating became like my shrink. Anytime an episode happened, I went to Photoshop and just did something. That's why I have so many designs. So it was not the business. It was not something I had planned. I never for once thought, oh, I can actually do this thing that people are doing. No, I wasn't digitally inclined in that way. Well, I could design houses with SketchUp and AutoCAD, but to create pattern designs that was never my plan. So that's how it started. That's how I started I took paint and I turned it into art. And so it was pain, passion. I fell in love with it. And then purpose was born. How to change the narrative of the African print. Yep.
Oh, thanks for really tapping into your strength in sharing that deeply personal story. So many of our listeners
Mm.
may relate to it and you're providing inspiration for them. Let's talk a bit more about, but have you always wanted to be a designer growing up, or you had another career in mind?
First, architecture. When I was young, I used to, the carton. I don't know. They used to have the sugar, cube sugar, and it came in packs. And I would cut the packs and create something. So it was that architecture. Then I was a science student, so I didn't do technical drawing. So that was out of the way. In Nigeria, you had to do technical drawing to be able to do architecture. Then I wanted to be a fashion designer. My mom used to sew and make clothes for us, and then I used to do a lot of sketching. At my end of high school, I did quite a lot, and then when I finished, there's a year where you don't really do anything. I used to do a lot of sketching. But then fashion design, then in 2005, was it 2005? No, yeah, 2000, no, sorry, 1995. 1995, that's when I finished high school. It was seen as tailor work. Like, you tell your parents you want to become a fashion designer. What? You want to become a tailor? And that didn't fly. My dad wanted me to become a doctor or a pharmacist like him or a computer scientist or something. And that's what I filled in my jam, my university application. I put computer, and then my dad filled it in. And then for polytechnic, my dad wasn't around, so I put fine art. And then that's how I did fine art. So I just wanted to draw or sculpt, not this.
Right.
You know how it was in 1995, and in the environment we lived in, we're not exposed like this. So no, this was far from my mind till 2000 in 2009, 2010. Not in this capacity, but no, I'll say
Oh,
no. Yeah.
but I think all of these aspirations were within the design space of a sort, the broader
Sure,
design space. So,
sure,
and you
sure.
always have that at
Was
heart.
preparing me for today. I think so.
Definitely. And then you started the textile and surface design studio that we have now, Zuri and
Mhm.
Imani. I mean, you have a backstory to everything you create, and I love the name so much. But what is Zuri and Imani about?
It's a Swahili name. So when I was looking for the name of the company, of the fashion design company I wanted to start, I put I wrote down a list of things that how do I put it now? Um, an aspiration of the future, like what I was going through at that time, the opposites. Like, so I put words like happiness, faith, hope, beautiful. There were things I was not feeling, so I put those words. And then I went to Google. I actually wanted a French name, but yeah, it wasn't working with the French names. And then so when I check, I also check if other people had those names, for companies. And then people had. So I was like, oh, and then it was Google Translate. So I'll put the names and then I'll check different languages. Then I checked Swahili. And so Zuri, I think it's in Zuri, beautiful. So I took out the N, and Zuri is beautiful, and then Imani is faith. So, and then I was hoping I would have more kids, two girls or whatever boy. So I was like, okay, that was going to be the names of my kids if I had more kids. And then I put the name, and then I sent it to my family on, I think it was BlackBerry then. And I put several names, and everybody chose. I have five sisters, and I sent it to my mom also. Everybody chose Zuri and Imani, so it stuck. And it had a good meaning.
Right. So beauty and faith. Zuri.
Beautiful and faith.
Zuri and Imani. I really
Yeah.
like the name. And
Thank you.
let's go to when you were transitioning from the work you were doing then to starting your own business. How was that that road to cross? It was like a crossroads. Do I start? How was it for you? Was it challenging? Tell us a bit about it.
So it was from interior design. Then I moved to social media management. Well, interior design. What also happened was I lost my job, and it got me. It was 2014. I lost my job in January, and then it got me depressed because I don't understand why I did. I was good at what I did, So I was wondering what should I do. And then my sister, she has a company, Jagger Beauty, so makeup. She started as makeup, and now she makes beauty products. And I opened a WordPress account for her, and I started blogging for her just for fun. And then that was it. And she was like, you know what? Why don't I pay you for this? That was my sister. I was like, okay. I didn't even know social media management was a job or a thing. So when she said she was going to pay me, that's when, I did my research and I found out that it was actually people get paid for this. So I started blogging I started posting on Instagram and I started posting on Instagram and I also just that. And then other people started asking her who was doing it for her. And I started getting clients. In some months, I'll have 10 clients. I'm posting on their Facebook, I'm posting on their Instagram, I'm posting on the Twitter, I'm writing blog. I knew how to write blogs for makeup that I know nothing about, for hair, for school. I had to learn how to speak their languages. So that's what I did. And then finally, but because of the problem I was having at home, I started losing my clients because I couldn't concentrate anymore. And it was after a while, I was like, I've got to get my life back together. And then I went back to what was my first love or something I loved, and it was fashion design. So that's when I wanted to start a fashion design company in 2015. So how was the transition? Well, I don't know. I wish I kept a day job, I really wish I kept a day job because it was hectic. So I was using the money I was making from social media management to fund the new company. So the social media company was called the Design Bender, and then so money I was getting, then I would make samples, pay for samples to be made, paid for, whatever that needed to be paid. So it was, it was tough, eh? It was very tough. I just, like I said, I wish I stuck to finding a day job and keeping the day job and doing the thing by the side because that monthly payment is bliss. It is bliss. I missed that. So it was tough in the beginning. Sometimes it's still tough.
Right. I can
Yeah.
imagine. But whichever way, we are here today celebrating the amazing work you're doing at Zuri and Imani. There is Joy Ezeka. We're speaking to her as our guest against gravity. She is the founder of Zuri and Imani. We know that Zuri means beautiful and Imani means feet. It's a textile and surface design studio in South Africa. Let's go into the theme for this podcast, which is changing the narrative of the African print. I know you started the African print business because you wanted to change the narrative of the print itself. What was the existing narrative when you entered, and what do you want to change it into?
Okay, so why that purpose was born is what I'd said in the before was I was trying to find out where to buy, this Ankara fabrics in bulk, and then that was when I discovered that majority are not made in Africa or produced in Africa. Yeah, I know you have Woodin in Ghana and GTP, but then I found that Vlisco actually owns it, or probably they're not owners now, but in the beginning they're still owners. So it's still, the ones in Nigeria are kind of dead, and most of them I think were owned by Indians also. So now, and then also there's this influx of coming in from China. Then now the design of the prints, none by Africans. I've not stumbled on anyone or anybody's account that says, oh, they designed for Blisco, or any of those major prints. So that was what started my purpose, like changing the narrative of the African print, like, and also uh, African, design from Africa is also like, how do I put it now? Um, is interpreted as ethnic or tribal, and then to have those symbols. What's those Ghanaian symbols you guys have? What's it called again? Andikra.
It didn't crash symbols.
Yeah, so we have those symbols, we have shapes, or to have a certain earth colors or loud colors, and then yes, it's African. The international world will see it as African. I wanted to change that. Like, why does it have to have those colors? Why does it have to have squares and circle? Why does it have to be in red, yellow, blue? Why does it have to have lines or symbols? Why can't it just be something different and be called African print? Why can't it be pink and black and still the African pattern or African print? And that's so I started first by being inspired by landscapes of Africa. So I will travel to different African countries. Like if one of my designs called Gidan Saraki, I traveled to I have been outside the Emir Palace in Kano because I lived there, and I got the inspiration from the wall, the Emir's Palace gate, and created the Gidan Saraki print. And this one, it's a symbol in northern Nigeria also called the Arawa symbol. I created several prints. This is a Namak from there's a Namakwa land in Cape Town, no, Western Cape. So I go to places like that, or I have this one. This is from Morocco, the Casbah palaces. And then I give it whatever color I want. And that is my African print. That's my African pattern, but inspired by Africa. In the beginning, don't get me wrong, I started with the shapes and the things because I thought that's how I had to go. I had the lines and I had that. Uh, but then it started changing. I started getting more purposeful of of what I design. Yeah, and that was so. Did I answer your question?
I think the import is that you wanted designs done by Africans, created by Africans, made by Africans for Africa. Because
Made in Africa by Africans.
definitely. Thank you so much for that clarity. And
Okay.
also, I noticed that all your designs for textiles and surface are nestled in this deep African cultural history, traditions, landmarks. Could you tell us a bit about your creative process in developing a design, and why is it important to you that your design collection always weave in authentic African stories and culture?
Okay. Oh, that's not a hard question. It's a deep one. Like I said, I wanted not all my designs. Uh, some some of them are just from sketches I've done, and I just create design. But the ones that have the African theme, um, I just wanted to create designs uh, that can tell the story of a certain place, like the Emir's Palace, the King's Palace in Kano. That wall, his palace is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and part of the wall is falling because it's not being kept well. The Emir's Palace is being kept properly. the other one's not. So kind of like telling the story with this prince. Is it? Do I say immortalizing that place? You know, just like the one from Morocco also. So UNESCO World Heritage Site, and I'm immortalizing that place in with the design. If that years to come, if that place is still there, fine. If it's not there, then you know the prince will tell the story. It's like memories, But I'm doing it using pattern design to tell that story. There's another place also I found in one of my e-travels. When I say e-travel, I go on the internet and I travel to different places. There's a place I found in southern Sudan. It had relics of well, what do you call this thing now that's in Egypt? Pyramids and castles like almost gone. I never knew there were pyramids in another country apart from Egypt, and it was fantastic to find that the pyramids in another place. So it's very hidden, and I created a print based on that place because I don't know how it's going if it's going to disappear in some years to come. But then I've immortalized that place in with a pattern design.
Oh,
Yes. So I hope in the future to do more, like for different countries and that is for like there'll be prints for Senegal and prints for Ghana and prints for Nigeria that tell stories of different things. It doesn't have to be landscape, cultural elements of those places. Yeah.
that's really important to immortalize all of these key parts of our living, our history, and our culture. Since
Mm.
2005, though, the African textile production industry has seen a steady decline because the markets were open to more foreign competitors, and it's cheaper today to buy from China and India. That is such a big challenge for people in the textile production industry. For you, as Zuri and Imani, how are you managing to stay afloat and ahead of competition looking at this challenge, Joy?
Mm. It's still tough, still because um the way that I can bring this print to life is through digital printing. And digital printing is still, it's not that popular yet. Not everybody I can't just go and buy the machine. It's like, I think in brands, well, I checked in dollars, probably $30,000 or almost $50,000 for a machine, and it's quite expensive. So, for now, one can only, as a small company, I can only produce in small quantities, and and also, you know, the textile design industry is. I'm not trying to use their textiles. I'm trying to use mine. So it really doesn't. It. How do I put it? It really doesn't affect me. Not affect me. It does because I think it will still be expensive because people will still want to buy the cheaper version of the African prints, the ones that are cheaper because they're made in big quantities, they're made by big companies. So at the moment, we're just going to keep pushing, and one day, we're not trying to compete with these big companies, eh? Let's just get it straight. We're not trying to compete with them. We're not trying to do what they're doing. We're trying to create our own. It not resembling their own, but create our own that resembles our own, but made in Africa and designed by an African.
I
So
love that. I love
yeah,
that. We have a niche market that we should focus on as well.
yeah.
It's important. I mean, you do surface design, you apply artworks to a product surface. I want to know,
Mm.
as Imani, I know you produce bags, scarves, clothes, but do you also sell your design for others to apply it on other surfaces, or you do everything and sell the product, the finished product?
That's a good question. So that is where we're heading. Um, in the beginning, it was a process trying to figure out what we want to do, which angle we want. So we first started um, printing the textiles and making coats, but that was just testing the market. I tried to follow the lean startup strategy, put a product, test the market, and then learn, do we pivot or do we persevere? And then, so the next stage we're going to now is this print, putting the print online, the pattern design online, putting the image online, and then people can buy the image and they can print or do whatever they want to do with it. So that's the next step we're going to take. So they can buy, say, this print, they can print it on textile for apparel, or they can put it on their shoes, make their shoes, or they print it on and plates, or yeah, whatever they want to do. So that's the next step now. That's what we're going to roll out very soon. We're going to roll out the online store where you can buy, but that other people will still have those prints, or you can pay premium, and then it's just only you that has that pattern design, and you can use it for whatever you want to do, and you're the only one having it. Yeah.
Perfect. I can't wait to have my custom design from you. You have great works. What's the plan to expand to other parts of Africa? Because I saw a school bag and a sneaker I wanted to buy, but I may have to ship it all the way from South Africa to Ghana. Are you looking at having a ready store, a ready market in some other African countries to make your products more accessible?
Mm, yeah. So let me correct you there. What you saw, the bag, the sneakers, they're all mock-ups.
Oh,
So mock-ups, they're not real. It's an aspiration, but that is how, if you use that print to make it to on that product, that is how it's going to look like. So we really don't produce anything at the moment. Well, what we just make is the coats, but mostly on pre-order. So we don't produce anything. So that's what the whole shift is going to be now. We're just going to sell the designs, and then you can. So wherever you are, you can buy the designs and you print it yourself. But also, if you want it printed, because digital printing is not available everywhere in Africa, but it is in Europe and the US, but in Africa, not everywhere. So if people want the prints printed here and sent to them wherever, that can be done, as long as you pay the price.
right.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is that like a bespoke sort of commissioned work, and then that can be
Yeah.
what you want the finished product. Now let's
Yeah.
talk a bit more about what the world has been experiencing in the past year. Close to 3 million people have been lost to the COVID-19 pandemic. For
Hmm.
you personally and as a business at Zuri and Imani, how has the pandemic really affected you, and what lessons did it teach you? How did it change your outlook on life, Joy?
Hmm. The pandemic, eh? Yeah, so we officially launched January 2020, and officially launched with a set of codes, the Lola codes, So officially, yes, we've been in business, but officially launched the website, officially launched codes that people can go online and purchase. So it wasn't pre-order. That was January 2020. Uh, in South Africa, we went on lockdown in March. So you can imagine what that did to us, because who wants to buy anything cold? Where are you going to that you're buying an apparel? So we went dry, for a couple of months. But then the good thing is that we we still had some fabrics left. So a company bought those fabrics and made masks from them. So there are lots of people now that have masks and Zuri and Imani fabrics. But it hit us really bad. We just started like coming, getting back up in October, September, when people started approaching me to design for them. So they wanted their own African prints. So I had to design their own African prints. So that's now what the pandemic also like taught me. Like I started thinking, how can we make a shift? Do we still have to produce? If the pandemic happens again, this is going to be, it's going to happen again, or if some sort of pandemic happen, and then we have clothes, who's going to buy them? So that's why I was talking about: do we pivot or do we persevere? So we're not persevering anymore; we're pivoting. Like we're changing, realigning the business model, and so that is where now people can approach us to design their own prints for them, or you can buy prints that we have already designed, or pattern designs we have already designed. You can buy them and use it for your own. Yeah. So that's what it taught us, like, I mean, you have to think. You can't sit down and be like, oh my God, we're losing money. Oh my God, we're not making money. You have to like, okay, what can we do next? What can we change? And yeah, that's now we've changed. We've changed our business model now due to the pandemic. Yeah.
Right. I think one of the silver lining of this pandemic is innovation. All businesses were thinking, how can I digitize?
Yeah.
How can I ensure that we still operate if people can move across borders? And
Yeah. True.
definitely,
Yeah.
and I mean, creative inspiration is one of the drivers of design. I'm wondering, where do you get creative inspiration from as a designer, and how do you sustain it?
Hmm. I said, how do I get the inspiration? The inspiration comes from anywhere, so I can't say, oh, nature, or no. I just like when I travel and I stumble on a country and I see something. I see like I see a building, or I see a heritage site, and am inspired by that. Uh, Sometimes I just sit down and just sketch something. Nothing really. How do I sustain it? I really have to be happy to sustain it, because I think uh, creativity, if your mental health is not right, I'm sorry, you can't do anything. It has happened to me, and at first I thought there was something wrong with me. Why am I not able to do anything? I had an experience with a client and last year, and she demeaned me in a very weird way. And the weird thing is, after that, I could not do jack, and that was because it messed with my mind, and I could not. Nothing was flowing. I had to get to a point where I had to deal with that for anything to flow. So I sustain it by staying happy, and by only allowing positive things around me. Um, I know in the beginning it was easy to take pain and turn it into art, but no, I don't want to keep doing that. I need to be in a good space of positivity. I need to, yeah, bad things happen, stuff happen that comes as everyday thing is life. But I have to find a way to rise up above all those weird things that happen. And that is the only way I can create, and create well. I can create in the midst of chaos, right? But then it's not going to be my best. And I've just accepted that fact about myself, that I've got to be in the right space. I've got to be happy. I've got to have a lot of positivity around me. I've got to have my tummy full. I've got to eat also. you know, my rent has to be paid and all that thing. And then you would just see it just starts coming, just starts flowing like that. Yeah. So that's how I maintain it. And if all that is not available, I really just try my best to just create because I have to keep moving on. Yeah.
Some words of creative strength there from Joy Ezeka of Zuri and Imani, a textile and surface design studio in South Africa. We are talking changing the narrative of the African print. Joy, I noticed that you use the word unafraid in a lot of your tweets, in a lot of your posts and captions. And the unafraid spirit even runs through the story of Zuri and Imani. What's the genesis of the word unafraid? What does it stand for in your life and business?
You know, like I wrote to you, it's so weird you noticed that. I didn't think anybody would like notice that I used that. Remember when I told you that I lived in a abusive uh, household in my not last marriage, like as if I've been married again. And when I was married, yeah, so there was another episode that happened. And the weird thing is, I was sitting down and I had YouTube on, and it was at that time, it was now 2017 January, and I was creating another print. That print is actually called Unafraid, just because of what happened. And then a song came on, and hold on, let me find the lyrics of that song. Was by Andra Day. Let me read it to you. It said, the beginning starts, you're broken down and tired. When that came out, it's like, whoa, who's that? You know, like, that was the first verse of the song, and said, of living life on a merry-go-round. That was what I was experiencing at that time. And so you can't find the fighter, but I can see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. And then the chorus was, and I rise up, rise like the day, rise up, rise unafraid, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I think if that YouTube thing, you know, where the song, if it was a CD, it would have been cracked by now, because it after that day it was on repeat, like, and I was like, it was on repeat, and that changed a lot after hearing that song. I was like, hold on, I can't keep living like this anymore. I can't keep living defeated, because I was already defeated. You know, sometimes when people are in that situation, they go, oh, why don't you leave? And then I'm like, leave to where? One, I'm a foreigner in a weird country. Not weird, in a country that's not my home. I didn't have any family around. Where was I gonna go to? You know, I didn't have um funds that would allow me to go and rent a place. You know, so, and then at that time already, because it was a weird kind of abuse where the abuser was trying to make me feel like I was mad or losing my mind. So at that time, I was already starting to believe him. But then that song came up, and then I wrote an unafraid creed for myself, and then that just defined everything. I had not even registered Zuri and Imani by then, and not, you know. And then it was in January after that song, I registered Zuri and Imani, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this happen, and that's why every time I use it, because these things don't just go away, they follow you. That kind of trauma, whatever trauma, it follows you. You know, so you need something to keep reminding you about why you're moving on, why you're living, why you're fighting, why you shouldn't give up. And so I wrote my Unafraid Creed, that anytime it feels like about to give up because other things have happened in life. Like sometimes the business has not done well, or sometimes it seems like nothing is moving. My unafraid crave just keeps me moving on. Yeah, it's okay. I will send you the unafraid crave. So,
Please do. I need some inspiration, and it's interesting how some lyrics of music
yeah.
or a song you just hear really connect with you and spark something in you. And
Oh, it did. It did. I played it over. It's every year it has entered every because I create a new playlist every year from 2017 to 2021 is in my playlist still up till now. Yeah, and anytime I feel I just put it on, just that song, and I just keep it, put it on repeat. It's a very powerful song. It is. Yeah,
definitely
it's called Rise Up by Andrew Day.
Rise Up by Angie Day. Thank you. I'm going to look
Yeah.
at that and find some inspiration in it. I know you've
Gotcha.
spoken about a number of challenges in this interview with your life. However, as part of this show, our signature question is what is your biggest against gravity moment? A particular instance in your life that really pushed you to the breaking point. However, you're able to surmount it and you're here today. Can you share your against gravity moment with us, Joy?
Well, I think I've shared it several times. It was that that was my lowest moment that time in that environment and that house. That was my lowest moment. And then being able to pick myself up and be like being able to pick myself up and be like, no, you can't break me anymore. I'm sorry. No more. And then and so what I did was in 2018, I decided to go back to school. Uh, Here in South Africa, you can put all your credits together and enter like a higher level. I found out that the Cape Peninsula University of Technology offers surface design as a course. And so I put all my credits together and I entered the fourth year, surface design. Um, and I kept passing. I didn't understand why I was passing. Like I was passing, I was just get top of the class, and I was still in that situation, and I didn't understand. And then even after I left the situation, I left that house the same year. Uh, I came out top of the class with distinctions, and every time I look back to that, and that was also when my thesis. That's also when I wrote about changing the narrative of the African print and how that purpose started. So I think I would just say the defining moment was how I just took pain, turned it into art. And so pain, like I said before, it started with pain, passion, and then purpose. And that's it. So it's you can't stay down forever. You just have to. It's not easy
Yeah.
for some people, yeah, because you hear stories of people who kill themselves or who there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. You've got to try your hardest to stay on this side because once you cross over, that's it. It's very hard. So surface design helped me to stay on the sanity part because it's like a how do I put this trauma depression. It's like a well. When you climb into when you're in a well, you keep going down and then you can't see light. So if you go deeper down, it's going to get very dark. So you have to try your best not to get to the point where you don't see light. Because as long as you can see light, you can still find your way up. But if you can't see light, you can't find your way up. It's going to be tough. So that is my yeah. So I made sure I tried my best not to sink deeper, and every time it seemed like I was sinking deeper. something, I designed. And then that was my light, and I kept. So I climbed out of it. Yeah.
Very, very, very strong words there that if you can't see light, you can't find a way and get yourself out of wherever you
No, I mean, imagine yourself in a well. As you keep going, you can't see, the light disappears. But if there's still light, you can find where to put your hand. You can at least, figure out how to climb up. But when it's dark, and then you're just going to get tired, and then you're just going to stay there, and then that's it.
Absolutely.
It's over. You know.
Sharing that. Another thing I want to ask you is being a Nigerian in South Africa, being an immigrant. I know in the past 5 years there have been some xenophobic attacks in 2017 and I think in 2019. In the heat of the moment, as a Nigerian living in South Africa, how were you feeling? What was your state of mind?
Scared, of course. you know, very scared, and then even people who don't remember me now call me, and then I get a lot of Facebook messages. Anytime xenophobic attack happens, I get lots of messages and phone calls asking if I'm okay. Um, the good thing is that I live in Cape Town, and then I also live in a part where it doesn't come. So somehow I'm safe, and but the thoughts that other Nigerians or other African nationalities are not safe is scary. And even though I know nothing will happen to me, it's also scary to even go out, like, because I can't speak the language. Well, I know a few words, but I mean, if I'm accosted, I can't like save myself by speaking the language. So it's scary, and I hope it will change. I hope we'll be accepted. We don't really have a good name here, and that's also part of my plan. Like a Nigerian not doing, the things they think we're supposed to do, and a Nigerian not scamming, a Nigerian not selling drugs, and but a Nigerian just hustling and doing the right thing. So yeah, it's a scary thing, and I really hope it doesn't happen again. I hope, really. Yeah.
Definitely. I hope so too. I mean, beyond work, how do you unwind? How do you stay sane? What makes you tick beyond designing and working hard, Joy?
I like to read a lot. Um, I have a library card, and I get like 5 books sometimes at a time. I'm a fast reader, so I read for novels, non-fiction, no fiction. I read fast, non-fiction. No, I don't read that fast because I have to underline stuff. So I like to read. That's one. Two, I like to hike. Um, that's yeah. So I like to challenge myself and climb up the mountain, and but with a group, not just by myself. And I think the whole point of hiking for me, it's the fact that I can make it to the top and make it down. Like, wow, like that's like I achieved something. And I'm not really afraid of heights, but I don't like heights. So the hiking is also something that pushes me to deal with my fear. And I put that fear of heights, I put other fears in it also. And every time I hike. And then when you go up, it's quiet, and Cape Town is beautiful. Cape Town is beautiful. So it's also a way of refreshing my mind also. Yeah.
Interesting. I like hiking too, but there are not many mountains around me, so
Yeah, there are plenty here.
I would try and hike. Um,
Okay.
I think one question I also want to find out from you is, as a designer, what what do you really want to see your prints on? What would be like the most cherished type of products that you want to see your design on?
A collaboration with Nike and the Nike sneakers.
Oh,
Yo, that is a dream. And then Vans. I had done one for myself, and on the Vans website you can do that, but then I would like that it's available for a lot of people. So Nike, Vans, sneakers. Then I would like to clothe a musician,
mm.
Burna Boy to be exact. I like his
Boy.
style. He has a very eclectic style, and it's oversized coats and my kind of thing. I like to design prints for Burna Boy for his, you know, and then it's on a music video and whoa, yo, that would be
Boy
huge.
management, if you're listening, Joy wants to get in touch with her now and make that collaboration happen. Nike fans as well.
Yeah.
Joy, we'll be having a long discussion on changing the narrative of the African print. I mean, for someone listening to you now who wants to venture into textile, surface, or any type of design as a business, reflecting and drawing lessons from your journey so far, what would be your message to them?
Keep your day job, please. Just keep your day job first. You can do that by the side, and you can actually learn how to do this. It's not there are lots of resources online that one can learn how to do this, and you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Come up with your own signature style, you know. But most importantly, and I'll say again, first keep your day job and do it by the side. Then once you know that okay, you can venture out and you have some money saved for like 1 year. Though I know when people say that it sounds like it's very hard to save money for 1 year. I think it is. Well, from experience, I wish I did that. Even if it's 6 months at least, and then yeah. And then if anybody needs any help starting, they can reach out to me. I can advise, I can coach on the process also. Yeah.
Thank you. Strong words there from Joy Ezeka. Final words there. She is the founder of Zuri and Imani, a textile and surface design studio in South Africa, renowned for its original and exclusive pattern print designs and colors. Thank you so much, Joy, for coming on Against Gravity to share your inspiring story with us. Our listeners are really grateful for that. Thank you for tuning into Against Gravity on this episode, changing the narrative of the African print. Don't forget to check out the Afroframe collection of images. These are beautiful images amplifying the resilience, diversity of women, Black women across the world. Check it out at picturestock.com and use these images for free for your social media content. And let's change the narrative together. My name is Henry Devin. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on our social media pages at Picture, and you can reach out to Joy Ezeka on social media. I think it's a design bender, Joy.
At Zuri and Imani Instagram,
Okay.
at Zuri and Imani Twitter, at the Design Bender Twitter, and my email is joy@zuriandimani.com.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So reach out to Joy if you need any advice or you think there's an opportunity for collaboration. You are a top musician and you want to be in her fine print for the music video. It could be. Yes.
True.
Thank you for spending time to watch or listen to Against Gravity. Have a good one and stay safe out there.